Those of you coming on here watching the YouTube version of this, make sure you guys hit subscribe down in the corner. And right off the bat, let's recognize those sponsors, man. I see you got the Ready Go Garb shirt on.
Yes, sir.
So awesome. ReadyGo.ca. For those of you out there looking to pick up some of this awesome apparel you've seen me and Chris wear, I'm rocking the Fit to Fight Arm Sports League shirt because I got a super match coming up with Rich Lupke's in about a week. Just a little bit better than a week. We'll talk a little bit about that more next week. But of course, ReadyGo.ca is our big sponsor. We are this is the last episode where we're taking questions. Yeah, we're live. We got people tuning in already. The last show, we're taking questions for the contest. And of the questions we're going to read today, plus all the ones in the last month, we're going to have a live show Monday just to announce the winner and announce the next contest. And that's for the $40 coupon code from ReadyGo.ca.
Perfect.
I apologize again for my background. I'm still getting this house ready to be sold, and hopefully it goes soon and we can get into the new place. Moving on, Patreon members, Gabi. We still have 3. We got 2 at Tier 1. We got Brandon Irwin, and we've got Jorn Harold Habu. That's how you pronounce his name. He corrected me right on the comments section of the last video.
Okay. And
that should do it. Sean Russell, of course, is in at Tier 2. Sean Russell is one of the guys behind ReadyGo.ca who sent us, or who are sponsors of the show, with a good long-term commitment. And we have an awesome contest being announced. Closing this one, opening a new one as of Monday. So I guess to get right into it, Gabi, we're going to talk about WAL. I assume you've had a chance to watch all the matches.
I did.
And fully caught up. Well, let's talk about the highlights, man. Let's go Sam Harris with Tony Kwiatkowski. Let's get into that one. So the backstory being that it wasn't the title match, that Tony missed weight, came in and was 2 point something pounds over.
Yeah, 2.5 apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And came in rehydrated after he had an issue making weight where he seemed to feel like he was getting into what he interpreted as kidney failure from trying to do that weight cut, but still managed to rehydrate, come in, looked fairly dominant in their match. Thoughts?
Well, I was obviously, like most people, I was very disappointed with him missing weight. I mean, incredibly, we rarely see this for a general, regular WAL card, never mind a hammer title match. So for him to come in unprepared like that is totally unprofessional. Whether it'll affect his and disrespectful towards Sam as well. Whether it'll affect him moving forward, we don't know. But
yeah,
that's not what I take from that. I mean, that does happen. We've even seen it in UFC and MMA stuff. My takeaway from that is Tony's a fucking bum. The way he celebrated after he beat Sam with maybe a 20-pound advantage, I mean, what a jackass. And I know maybe Wall said, hey, listen, if you win, try to make it look excitable. But you still, I think he came off as a big jackass on that one. Just what a fucking bum.
Well, it's interesting because there was some takeaways from that from other people too that were saying that Tony maybe shouldn't have celebrated as much as he did in winning the match. I know he had some emotional investment in there that probably had nothing to do with actually how it all unfolded. But, I mean, Tony looked really strong despite, when guys do a big cut like that, sometimes they come in weakened, especially when they have to abandon the cut. And he claims that he hasn't done anything against what is his normal protocol in the past. So missing weight is kind of out of character. And I think that he needs to pay a little more attention to his weight leading up to matches in the future. And I don't know if we'll see a rematch right away or if Tony is going to stay in the heavier class.
Yeah, it doesn't really the excuse doesn't matter. He knew he had that prepared coming in. Totally unprofessional. I'm glad there's no health ramifications from him making that hard attempt. But nevertheless, he's accountable. He's subjected to criticism, and so he will be. But no, I feel bad for Sam.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, like UFC, if the champion misses weight, the belt's still on the line. But if the challenger misses weight, the belt's no longer on the line. Usually there is a percent of your purse that goes to your opponent. Because you missed weight, it's not a good situation, and we knew it was coming up that way. Yeah. It is what it is. So I don't know what the future holds. I mean, the champion now has a loss, but he's lost to a guy that was outside of his weight class. So does it count for anything? It's really hard to say.
He misses weight, right? He claims he was 2.5 over. Maybe he was 10 pounds over. Who knows? I think if he's 2.5 over, they say, okay, have a little bit of water, don't overeat, and as long as you can come in within a 5 pound over, I mean, we'll let it slide. Or, I have a feeling he might have been 10, 12, 13 pounds over. And then the day of the match, the moment of the match, it's conceivable he was 185, 190. So he won. It was a dominant performance, but I don't put anything into that. Sam's the winner.
Sam's the hammer holder, and he's looking for the next, looking towards the next challenger for his hammer. And hopefully we get to see that early in the next season. Next match, let's talk a little bit about, this is a super high point because this was incredible. It was Gabriela Vasconcelos looking completely dominant against Sarah Bachman. You go ahead on this one.
Flat out, my impression after that win is she arguably not the best arm wrestler on the planet? I mean, we saw 5 dominate a 5. We don't see 5s dominating 5s often. It's hard because she doesn't have that much competition. But I predicted she would win, but I predicted it was the razor thin, and I predicted tough matches. The way she did it. I mean, I saw a small elbow foul in the first match, but they called it. But her side pressure, her hand, everything looked so fucking dominant. Versus a girl, versus an athlete that's, in my opinion, a physical specimen and an incredibly elite arm wrestler. That was the biggest performance of the night, the biggest eye-opening experience of the night for me was Gabby.
Well, I mean, Irina is the only one that could Still there, Gabi?
Yeah.
Thought we lost it for a second there. So Irina is the only one, arguably, that could be the next have the claim to that title, and she's
retired.
Retirement. So yeah, I mean, if she comes out of retirement, we have something interesting to watch. Until that happens, I mean, Gabriella is in a class by herself at the moment.
It's insane. That was incredible.
I mean, there were some thoughts of putting some other girls in there with her, but I think she's too far ahead right now. But I do think they need to bring in maybe some super heavyweight challengers for her.
Maybe because
maybe that's the answer.
She's farther ahead of her counterparts than any man is right now in the sport.
I was just going to say she might be the pound for pound best arm wrestler on planet Earth.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd have to, after that performance, it'd be tough to disagree on that.
All right, we got RVJ versus Justin Bishop. Justin comes in hot, takes match 1.
No,
RVJ wakes up.
that was 3-0. There were a couple matches, Mike Aiello being another one, where
we forgot. Let's talk about that one after this one.
Yeah. Anyway, Justin took the first one. I don't know. Was RVJ asleep, or was he on a mandate to give one win away? I don't know. Sometimes I think they don't want the 3-0 sweeps, which is very, very, very common. Anyway.
See, I've been backstage for all these speeches, and I can tell you beyond, I've never seen anyone say, hey, let him have one. I've never heard that before. But, I mean, other arm wrestlers say that often. Let him have one.
Yeah, I've heard firsthand that he was asked in a previous card, a WAL card, to not just give up a match, but lay down the super match, make it look good, but lose. Anyway, he said sure and didn't agree, and he ended up winning that super match. And he was told he's never coming back.
The champ was told that?
No, it wasn't the champ. Neither one were. It was an undercard. So you've never heard that. So explain to me how Juju got a win on Mike.
I don't know, man, because to me it looked like Juju could not even hold the weight of Mike's arm.
Yet he got a win.
That's how quickly he beat him, and he was so dominant over him. I don't know how that happened. I mean, only Mike knows that. I don't think he would let the cat out of the bag if he was asked that, because he's got some interest in proceeding with WAL too. But it was a bad act. I don't like anyone laying down for anyone ever, unless the match is manufactured completely for show. Which that one, I mean, Aiello was on the podcast with John Laba and said that he was going to go right through him. He's going to destroy him. And in match one, it kind of looked like that's what was going to happen. He just destroyed him. And then all of a sudden, match two, Juji somehow is in it because of the strap. It's, yeah.
It reminded me of, remember when Devin had a super match with Big Frank?
Yes.
He was going to rip through Big Frank like he wasn't even there. Big Frank was a novice. And yet all of a sudden, Big Frank got 1 or 2 wins. It's like, shut up, fuck off. Like, man, there's no fucking integrity in that shit.
Corey West says, I think Aiello was just a showman. I think he's, well, I guess he is.
And that's fine. You know, he can do whatever he wants. It was his super match. You know, he can lay down 1, he can lay down 2. But that was a 3-0 victory for me. I don't care what the stats say or what the you know, that's 3-0.
Yeah. So RVJ was dominant. Mike Aiello obviously was dominant. And then we had Bortolato versus Devin Larratt. And you know what? I'm going to jump to the questions for a second, because one of the questions in here was about that match in particular, and it's really what I had a problem with.
You had a problem with?
I had not with the question, with what happened in the match or before the match. Yeah. This is regarding the night before. Sheldon Short says, why would they do that? And that's the sparring session between Bortolato and Devin. It looks like it seems counterproductive, especially seeing Larratt in an interview with his elbow wrapped. There are videos of Larratt doing the same thing the day before with some Plankov match, and we all know how that went. What the hell are any of them thinking before a match doing this? Please, if you and Chris could give me and the viewers your thoughts, what I feel is a bad thing to do. Am I wrong, or have I missed something? I completely agree with Sheldon. I thought it was the worst possible thing that either one of those guys could have done. Like, they sparred the night before the championship match. What other sport, what other athlete will spar? They'll have a stare down, they'll get in each other's face, but they won't fight the night before the fight.
And even if they do and they didn't really fight, they kind of like jostled, but even if they do.
They did, but you could see that Devin found something in that brief second they locked up and pulled. Devin knew he was going to win that match. You could go ahead.
I'm not saying in the history of MMA, 2 guys the night before meeting in a hotel room decided not just to lock up and kind of like push each other a bit, see who I'm not saying that two supreme athletes never jostled the night before, but to do it publicly in front of the whole fan base, I mean, that is so unprofessional. And for me, Devin's always trying to do this, mainly because it tests out. He can test the waters of his opponent, maybe get in his opponent's head 24 hours prior to the match. So I can see his tactics. But why the hell would you give him that? Why would Wagner give him that?
It was mission accomplished too, by the way. Like, Devin won the match the night before, in my opinion. The fact that, and Wagner never really got into his groove. The match that he did win, Devin kind of gave it to him. So in the 3-1 victory, the match that Wagner did press him and pin him, Devin was messing around. So I got to say, though, Devin looked super impressive. I'll give him his props. His left arm looked way stronger than I think I've ever seen it. He did not King's move. He didn't. He was above the table and dominant and hooking and high hooking and all kinds of different stuff. He didn't do his antics as much as we've seen him do lately. And I think maybe that's just because of confidence. I think Devin was just a machine. And I think for the left-handers out there, if Devin decides he wants to stick with that division, there's a lot of stuff to think about with Devin Larratt in the super heavyweight left, especially coming in as big as he did.
It looks like Devin finally decided to get on the sauce. Good for him. Never too late.
Hey?
It's never too late.
Yeah. No.
But no, he stood up. I was very happy to see him standing up.
Yeah.
Was he that dominant, or we haven't seen anything from Wagner in 6 years? I would like to see more of Wagner so we can get a better sample size.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, but Devin looked good. He pulled the right way. The antics were minimal, and that was as predicted.
I don't. If I had a criticism, and I'm nitpicking here, I don't like showboating when you've got the guy beat. Yeah. Don't kick the shit out of him while he's down. So when he is saying in his corner, and I don't know if you caught this on the videos after, I'm going to try to get Bart to set me up in a dad move. And he's talking about that, gripping him low around the wrists, and he's going down there in the match. I know he's showing his dominance, but don't disrespect the man when you know you've got him beat. Holding him till he pins himself, sure, whatever. But the dad move stuff, I don't like it.
Fair enough, but we've questioned his honor before, and I'm sure we'll question his honor again. I'm not totally shocked by that.
Yeah.
He made me $20.
He did. You actually cleaned up last night, I think. 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Because I lost both bets to you. So Devin made you money.
Yes, sir.
I bet you he doesn't feel very good about it.
Oh, no.
Which brings us to the final match of the night and the one everyone is talking about. Michael Todd versus Jerry Catarat for the hammer. Match 1. Jerry comes out of the gate. Michael seems like he forgets to go. Doesn't really hit. Jerry smashes him to the pad. And here's the weird thing, is Michael never really got into a full-on King's move, did he? Did he? He was kind of more above the table and almost went into a break arm position every match.
I think we can almost create a new term for the move he was in. It wasn't a King's move. You're right. He wasn't that low. I mean, he was 95% doing the splits, right? So I don't know what you want to call it. Not a King move, still ugly. And but that again, the mechanics or the style of the match isn't so much what I took away from this title match.
Okay, well, don't go there yet.
I don't know.
Let's. Michael Todd said that he would need to have his arm broken to lose the match, and he showed the commitment that was what he was willing to do. Now, we go through the match. We get Jerry pins him once. There's a couple of wins on fouls. It ends up being 2-2. Going into the final match, we see what is starting to happen with the strap. We saw it in the match previous to that, where I believe Michael actually took that win on fouls, if I'm not mistaken, in match 4. And Jerry actually, there was a little bit of controversy because Jerry was given a second foul, and then the match stopped for some reason. Bart stopped the match. I think that was a mistake, but he was saying what happened was they simultaneously fouled, so they restarted the match. So Jerry's second foul, Michael Todd's first foul kind of happened in concert. So restart the match. They ended up finishing it off. They're 2-2. They go into the final match, and what we see is the strap starting to come apart. Really loosen up. A couple of things. The strap itself got to the point where even if Jerry, in my opinion, had his palm pressed flat against the table, Michael would not have been pinned because there was so much play in that strap between the bottom of Jerry's wrist and the bottom of Michael's wrist that Jerry couldn't win the match without getting a restart.